Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast, where faith meets the front lines of culture.
We break down what's happening in the world, what's behind it, and how believers can stand strong in truth.
We're not here to fear the times, we're here to understand them.
Because being watchmen means staying awake, staying ready, and staying grounded in the Word.
Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Modern Watchman podcast. I'm Tom, and this is Wendy, and I'm projecting because our microphones are not working at the very moment.
So that's exciting and great. We just came back from a very long afternoon of some local political meetings.
County commission, or a solid waste and budget committee meeting, a county commission meeting, and a Republican Party meeting. That we live an exciting life.
The riveting meetings of a county in action, right?
But actually, see, it sounds so boring, and people avoid these meetings. They're busy, they don't have time, and they don't think it's interesting or worthwhile. I guess, I don't know, you tell me, why don't we attend our local goings on of the political workings more?
People largely don't know when
they
these things are occurring. People are probably
people
the
are
first
busy.
one started at 4 p.m. That's when most people are at work.
Okay, all right.
But like the Republican Party meeting happens at 6 p.m. once a month. People can go to that one. And at least in our county, I'm always glad I went. It's always very informative. There's always some I would say important thing happening or that we need to be aware of, or
well, I tell you what, let's start at the budget committee meeting. You'll definitely learn, this is our county commissioners, so we have 18 county commissioners in our county. I'm sure it's different where you live and stuff, but you'll definitely learn who knows what they're talking about.
That's for sure.
And then you may have some morons for elected officials.
Sweet. Seem very charming. Darling in their overalls. But didn't seem to track what was happening.
Well, and in some cases you might have, a half a dozen of them. But you'll definitely find out who knows what's going on and who doesn't. And that's a good thing to get a feel for, how that stuff works. Because there's some things where it's people think it's hard to get involved in this stuff, and
it's not.
In some cases it's the only person who decided to do it is the one who's doing it. Doesn't mean the best person, the only person possibly.
Well, and let's back up a minute here because we live in the county.
Right.
And so it's different if you live in a city. You have a mayor. We have a county executive.
Well, it's most places are similar. So
they have commissions.
Well,
right?
It's just that
or is that what they're called? Board of Supervisors?
Yeah, that's
Board
a similar
of Supervisors.
thing. But here's the thing: there's county board of supervisors, but then the town, the incorporated city in that county, because every county has a city in it or a town in it somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So that might have a city council or a board of supervisors of that town, but there are different boards and entities depending on the...
People might not have any idea what a commissioner is. We just said we have 18 commissioners. People might be like, what's
it's a representative of the county. And
so there's these, little duplicate government systems all the way up, right? Your state assembly is a state congress, and then you have your city council, which is a county congress. There's just it's what are those little...
It's representative government,
Those queen...
You mean the Russian egg dolls thing?
Yeah, it's that. And we were at the tiny egg on the inside. That's what we did today.
But it was actually I guess what I'm also trying to get at is I don't know if there's people out there who just think it's boring or not worthwhile or nothing, interesting happens, but it's actually there's a lot going on, and it actually is interesting, and there's interesting people involved.
And you get like, there's little soap opera dramas, you know? You're like, oh, that guy's not very popular at this table.
Yeah, or those two people don't get along very well, I can tell.
Or that guy doesn't know what's going on.
Those two people are running against each other for county executive or whatever. It's pretty funny. But yeah, you get a lot of insight into what's going on. A lot of people, I mean, so I run a Facebook group in our county.
Which is very important, actually. It's a great way for you to have influence in your county without having to run for office. If that's, if that is something that you don't want to run for office, you don't want to participate in that way, this Facebook
or even
group,
if you do, I guess. I mean,
sure.
But
it's proven to be actually a significant force in this county, your Facebook group.
Yes, and it was actually inspired by my neighbor. So we live in an unrestricted county, and this is going to sound wild to some of you if you live in like California or something.
As my cousin calls it, California.
Because there is no codes or no zoning.
It's a free-for-all out
in
here.
our county. It's a free country. It's a free county out here.
A dilapidated double wide next to a McMansion, next to a Dollar General.
It's incredible.
Do what you want. Freedom.
And there are pros and cons to that.
Obviously. But I just described pros and cons in the same example.
Without getting into like that element, we can talk about that another time. A few years ago, our county executive, who's actually awesome, he formed a committee. Oh gosh, he said what it was called tonight at the meeting, and I don't want to get it wrong, but it was regarding
codes and zoning.
I don't want to say like it didn't even say that in there.
It said codes in it.
I don't know, but either way, it was like a planning committee, and it gave the hint of
codes and zoning
of bringing restrictions into an unrestricted county, and a whole bunch of people, including myself, jumped on that. Lost
their minds.
I lost my mind. So did my neighbor with
Pitchforks came out.
And my neighbor was like, "You should start a Facebook group about it and all this." Online. And I said, "You know what, Charles, I'm going to do that. Thank you for the inspiration." And
Charles inspired that.
Yeah, I remember I was about to get on the toilet, and I was on the phone with my neighbor as I was about to get on the toilet. And
you say it like I'm about to begin a journey. I'm about to get on the toilet.
I'm telling you, what you're gonna get from me is the unfiltered, like raw. I'm gonna tell you exactly.
Get on my horse and head out west.
Yeah, I was about to ride that thing.
And I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and I stopped before I did. I looked out our bathroom window over our backyard, and I was like, "Hold on a minute, I need to finish this conversation with Charles. Charles has something to say right now." And I was like, "You know what, Charles, I'm gonna do it." And I did it right there on the toilet. I started it. And
all the best things start on
some
the
of
toilet.
them. Either way, started this group, and it's called Concerned Citizens of Lawrence County, and the idea was just...
He won't let you in if you don't live there, so don't even try. If you're like from California, you're like, I want to see what he's doing. No, you won't get in.
Well, basically, I feel like this is a tangent, but it's kind of a tangent worth going down. Basically, I created this group.
I think this whole podcast is a tangent, really.
Maybe, but we created this group, and I started inviting people to it, and I said, hey, this is what's going on. Because again, a lot of people just aren't aware of what's going on, and county governments and city governments often, they don't do a great job of like getting the word out on what the decisions they make.
Kind of on purpose sometimes.
But I would actually say the opposite. Sometimes not on purpose. Yes, definitely sometimes they are trying to hide something. But actually a lot of the times it's just like
people don't care.
It's not their specialty, or they don't have a budget for a person who's supposed to tell everybody about what they're doing. You know, it's just it's just complicated. But either way, I was like, I'm gonna build this forum to keep people informed and also to keep our representatives accountable. Because that really, when you boil it down in America, and I'm talking from the city councils and the county government to the United States Congress, the thing that is missing is there's not accountability. Yeah. And when I say they're not afraid of us, I don't mean like threat of violence. I mean like they're not afraid of us.
They're not afraid of being primary.
They don't feel held accountable. they just know they can get away with it. We're asleep or we don't feel like we can do anything about it. And so they just get to do what they're going to do. And they're accountable to lobbyists and people and donors.
They will show up.
They know they have to keep them happy, but the American people, they don't feel an accountability to us. And I would argue that as
you're talking about the faraway people too. It's harder with
Sure.
the county. It's definitely harder with the county. When you're going to run into that guy at the grocery store.
You mean it's easier to hold accountability on the county side?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do mean that. Yes, it's
but-
harder to pull the wool. That's what
Absolutely. But I would argue that it is our job to hold them accountable. They don't
Absolutely.
hold themselves accountable. That's not the role they're ever going to play. The only accountability will come from us to them. And so I created this group to both keep people informed and keep people accountable. And this particular issue regarding like codes and zoning, like kind of launched it into
megasphere.
into
Relevance.
relevance. That's the word I was looking for. And so we had, as a community, we had a pretty good, relatively constructive and well-behaved conversation on these issues, and it was very challenging. I learned a lot. Like there was a bunch of things I did wrong, but I did really try very hard to keep it constructive and not just like
that.
Well, social media is a cesspool, right?
For sure.
And so if you're going to create a group like this and you're going to be the admin of it, I would highly encourage you to lead by example, but to constantly remind people. And you know, it's really easy in a county where like I would just remind people, hey, when we're talking about these issues, remember that these are our neighbors.
Yeah.
These are our friends. Like, let's behave like adults and respect each other and know that like this is not the issue that we're going to like hate each other over. Like, let's remember that we are neighbors. And honestly, all things considered, it went well. I would say that the things I learned, like I would say the group has gotten better from there in regards to how we interact with each other, and how I lead it. And when I say that, I'm not like I have learned to be better too, but we've had some great issues come up, and this is like 2.5 years old now or so, something like that, and almost 3 years, I want to say. Is that possible? No, it's only 2. It's coming up on 2 years.
Yeah, it's like,
that's
how
what
long
it
has
is.
David been in office?
Yeah. That was relatively early, wasn't it, that it came up?
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe we're coming up on. This is the 3rd year. It'll be.
Well, that does make
So,
sense.
either way, now fast forward, we've had a lot. This group has been a great sounding board for people. Other people can bring issues to it. And I kind of want to talk.
Elected officials are on it.
Elected
They're
officials are on it,
watching the
absolutely.
conversation. It's influencing their votes. It's influencing agendas that are put in front of the commission. Like, it's influencing meeting topics.
Well, and I kind of even want to talk about it from the standpoint of like, if you were to create this group for your area, that kind of thing, because that'd be a great call to action.
Absolutely.
It's been very, very effective, and
Our county executive today at our Republican meeting mentioned the page 3 times. 3 times.
I thought it was twice, but either way. Okay. Well, and that's actually the cool thing is, well, we'll get to that, but like how the politicians or the representatives can participate in it. It's not, again, it's not a page to attack them. Do you know what I mean? It's a page, it's a group, I should say, to facilitate a conversation. Because if you talk to your representatives, like your county commissioner, city councilman, the good ones will tell you they wish they could get people to hear and know what was going on, but it's really hard to do that. And so this actually kind of gives them a space. And I wouldn't say every single post that the county executive posts from his official page, which he has a ton of followers too. It's not like his followership is small, but I share it into the group. I share announcements from the county. I share, pertinent information from the Chamber of Commerce, whatever. If it's important to the people if I think it's important to the people that live there, I share. A lot of we have a volunteer fire department in the county. I share pertinent information of that. I mean, there's a lot. And people find it valuable enough to interact with and join the group. But fast forward 3 years, we've had some really cool things happen recently that I've just been like, man, this is awesome. Like, God really did a thing here, because the other day I just shared an agenda of the county commission. Again, these things go unnoticed. Nobody even knows the meeting's occurring.
Let alone what's on the agenda.
Do you know that when your city council meets, what time and where? You know what I mean? Like, most people don't. I didn't. And I shared it out there, and the agenda's right there, and people read the agenda, and I didn't give any opinion.
No prompting.
Now, I had an opinion about one particular item, and I didn't have to say anything about it because it did kind of stick out. And the meeting was the following day, and this item that was a substantial expenditure that was questionable, as far as like, whose back's getting rubbed here, or is this really what we need to be spending money on, got pulled off the agenda.
Just from being posted on that page.
And
the discussion that ensued, and
right.
I'm sure the phone calls that came.
And I want to be clear. I don't think that my page is the only thing that's driving this, but it is definitively a very impactful part of it. So I'm sure there were other people that were aware and were calling their congressman, their commissioner or something. But this is a big one. Well, it's a big part of it.
I'm going to push back and say it's probably the most significant, because per the whole topic of this podcast that we're slowly getting to is, oftentimes, obviously we are from California originally, and I don't know if that's obvious, we are, and we moved to Tennessee like so many, but we did it first. Okay.
First we lived in Nevada for 7.5 years.
Yes, we did detox California on our way out here. We lived in Nevada for 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we moved out here in 2017, so before everybody else got the idea and started coming out here. All that to say, when we first got here, it's almost like you say, I'm from California, but I'm a good one. Like, you have to immediately like qualify that I'm not here with like those ideas, because frankly, if you're outside of California, especially if you're in a red state, I mean, you're like a pariah to...
Well, California has a horrific reputation
outside of California. Go figure. Well, that has slowly shifted over the years that we've lived here, especially post-COVID, where now when you say you're from California, you might still give that disclaimer, but what we're discovering is the Californians, or not just the Californians, some of us are from Illinois, some are from New York, like there's people that are coming from other kind of psychotic states, as far as politics go, and they're the ones. I mean, how many do you think at the Republican Party meeting tonight are from out of state?
I don't know, at least half.
Yeah. So we're the ones that are most activated. We're the ones that care the most, because we recognize what can be lost. We also recognize there's a culture of complacency here, because things have been relatively unchanged for a long time. There's a super majority, so people feel really comfortable. They don't really have to pay attention because they've already gotten their Republicans in there. And so they're just like, keep on doing your stuff, guys. Like, we don't even know what you're doing. We think it's great. We trust it's great. And this is the other thing we noticed as the outsiders coming in, that when the representatives come to the meeting and they're like, those Democrats, blah, 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 that's all they want to talk about is the Democrats. Well, I'm sorry, we know you have a super majority, and if not a single Democrat showed up to work up in Nashville, you guys could pass any legislation you wanted. You don't need a single Democratic vote. So why do you come here and blow smoke blaming the Democrats for anything? They literally have no power in the state of Tennessee. So we were able to start to go, something smells, you know what I mean? But again, and this isn't a criticism so much as it is a critique of the culture of this state, our state, we can speak to. I'm sure it's similar in some other states that have, kind of settled into their conservative majorities. There is even more of a disconnect to what is going on and to the accountability. They're like literally your friend, your cousin, your sister's husband's brothers, whatever, is the guy that's on the commission, is the guy that's going up to Nashville, right? Like, you might know them personally, and therefore you're like, they're my friend. Like, I know that guy, I went to high school with him, whatever. There's just a weird, like, familiarity that fosters a culture of no accountability. And if you have no accountability and nobody's watching, you can do whatever you want. You can also do nothing. And you can also play really dumb games in a super majority conservative state like Tennessee.
I'll give you an example too of like, there's so much that needs to be done in Tennessee. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's really like we're in this like pivotal moment economically, from what kind of conservatism we're going to be, carry the torch forward. And the like two bills that come to mind that one of our local representatives has carried has been allowing archers to carry a handgun during archery season.
Very important. Critical legislation.
Allowing the state to tax you to bait deer if you want to bait deer, which is, again, I'm like, this is the disconnect of like, we have serious stuff to do.
We sent you to Nashville.
I'm not here to argue the merits of like those two laws, but it's like, that is not in the top 3, 4, 5 for me. And it would be different if you were working the top 3 for me also, and you passed legislation for archers to be able to carry a handgun during archery season, but you're not.
Also, I mean, it's like, not only is it relatively insignificant to the majority of us, it is completely politically safe, and we see it for that.
Yep.
We see it as that. Okay.
Yeah.
So what has happened, and we can kind of go back because maybe we can end on like the beautiful meeting we had tonight. But what that has resulted in Tennessee specifically is up in Nashville, and by extension, yes, there's a piece of Nashville, but also a large swath of rural Tennessee. There's a woman running for Congress. Her name is Afton, I think. I forget her last name, but an absolute lunatic leftist that is challenging a seat in Tennessee that went, it's a +10 district Republican, and Trump won it +20 in 2024, last election. And she is running, and she is actually could win. She could win. That is like the prime, most great example of what is happening, not just in this state, but in other conservative majority states. Is there's this apathy, this disconnect, this complacency, I guess would be the better word, where people don't know what's going on. And honestly, this isn't I can't vote against her. Like, I'm not obviously in that area of the state, but I promise you it snuck up. People didn't recognize that this was happening. I just learned about this gal like a week ago, and I'm like, if she wins, that will be such a important, hopefully, awakening, but I don't even know if it would be I don't even know if it would awaken anyone in this state to where we are and what's going on. And this is it should be considered a kind of a canary in the coal mine for the midterms and for what's coming in the Republican Party. We're known as the silent majority because, it's like assumedly, is that a word?
Yeah.
I don't know that I need to use that word right then, but it is assumed that the majority of the country is conservative. If you look at polling, if you look at the maps, that is the case. However, we're silent because we don't vote. We're silent because we don't get engaged. We just, generally speaking, most people lean more Christian conservative in America, although that is slipping away. Trump came in and activated the silent majority. Obviously, even in 2016, that happened. That kind of threw, it evidenced itself in that Trump won when he wasn't supposed to win. Obviously, in 2020, more people voted for Trump than they did the first time, which almost never happens with an incumbent, at least not to the degree that it happened with Trump. And of course, we are meant to believe that Biden got, 81 million?
Something like
Something absurd, more than Obama, obviously. And then again, in 2024, Trump has these outrageous numbers. So obviously, and we win the popular vote finally in 2024. Again, it speaks to what we knew to be true, that there is a silent majority in this country that is silent because they're not active. They're not voting. They're not engaged. They're not paying attention.
Well, I would say that a lot of that does have to do with, like, why did people show up for Trump?
That's right.
What were the characteristics of Trump? He used to be basically radical, like build a wall, deport people, oh geez, so America first, no new wars, all this kind of stuff. There's
put Hillary in jail.
Put Hillary in jail. Love it. Like, it's made.
The tweets, the mean tweets.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Anti-deep state.
Very, very provocative.
A candidate's even willing to, like, acknowledge the deep state.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
fake
pretty
news,
like
call it out.
Everything. Yeah, mainstream media calling out. He was unlike anything American political scene has seen in 100 years, and
the good old days.
And lukewarm just does not do it anymore. And Wendy hears me say a lot of, and so do the people that come in contact with me. I'm just like, radical is the only way now. Like, people
radical
don't
right, radical left.
And that, look at it. Like, both sides are moving further away from each other. We have
It's a pendulum.
And this isn't an endorsement of anyone, but we have, like, Nick Fuentes and is showing up on the right, and then we've got Mamdani on the left. Like, the people that are catching America's eye are not running down the middle right now. And so this is me being objective, observing it. It's not an endorsement. It's saying, if this is the reality of our moment right now, that you don't make any progress trying to straddle the middle line right now.
Carrying your sidearm while you do archery.
Right. And what's interesting, like, about this, and I don't want to get too much into, like, a congressional race in Nashville that most people don't know about or care about, but, like,
it's evidence.
It's this lady who's like, she's a version of Mamdani in Tennessee, mm-hmm. and she wants to repeal the grocery tax in Tennessee. And it's like, it's funny because you have this leftist populist who's lowering taxes. So where was the Republican majority? Do Republicans not purport to be for lower taxes? Is that not a Republican platform?
She's running for Congress.
She's in the state house though first.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. So as a state representative, this is one of the things she carried forward, which obviously it was, popular enough that she's platforming her congressional race on, like, I'm for the people. I tried to get your groceries tax to be removed.
She's for some people. She's also defund the police.
No, I understand that.
Not you people.
But what I'm saying is, like, how is it that that the leftist populist how are we allowing her to get that ground? And if you're a young Republican state house member, how are you not, as a Republican, running with lowering taxes? What one of the biggest things for Tennessee families could be is removing the grocery tax. But you allowed them to get that ground because
they're willing to be radical.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is that
we're not.
Is that you have to, we in Tennessee in particular, we are suffering from a case of the moderates and the rhinos, but that is just, we're seeing just such a divergence. Like the middle of the road, the lukewarm is being spit
Here's
out.
what's happening. The way forward, when the constituents were asleep pre-COVID, the way forward, pay attention to me.
I'm listening.
The way forward was play the political game, kiss the butt of the speakers, and play the game inside the establishment. Make the right friends, get the right donors, get the right alignments, allies, all the things. It had nothing to do with your constituents. If you were ambitious and you wanted to advance your career in politics, the plan had nothing to do with the people. Well, what's happening is our moderate Republicans are those people who still think that's how it works. That you kiss the butt of the people inside the game, and you're going to move forward because it feels like you're moving forward. Maybe you're getting more money, you're getting more donors, you're getting more assignments on different committees, and you feel like things are moving forward. But the way that it actually works is that your voters are now paying attention. Your voters are reading the legislation. Your voters are forming Facebook pages that are influencing people to pay more attention to what you're doing. And in the end, that's what got Trump elected. That's what caught the Hillarys off guard, because when somebody does start doing something actually for the people that's radical, it is noticed and it is carried and it is championed, and they freaking have flags and hats and rallies and movements about it like we've never seen politically before. And those people who are still playing the game of kiss the speaker's butt have failed to realize that is actually how you have to be ambitious in that way. That's how you actually advance your career now. Because like you said, there's a divergence where the people are waking up. Okay, we had a mass awakening post-COVID. Okay, some could argue that once the masks came off, a lot of people did. They got tired. I'm the same. I used to read news. Like there's a girl I'm talking to right now, and I can tell the amount of hours that she consumes news because of how much she's sending me, and I'm like, man, that was me in 2021, 2022. Hours and hours of my day, I was reading and consuming news and just obsessively trying to learn. And I don't do that because I've learned a lot. So I kind of can follow some of you mature, you kind of figure out, I don't need to actually go down every single rabbit hole that is presented to me every day. I can kind of discern worth it, not worth it. I'll wait and see on that one, whatever. All that to say, that is kind of shut off. A lot of those people that were hyper obsessed have kind of gone back to their normal rhythms and aren't as consumed. So there was a little bit of a lessening. I won't say people went back to sleep, but they calmed down with their hyper vigilance. Well, you know what happened? Charlie Kirk was shot, and it reinvigorated all those same people and more. And a new wave of people that are like our friend Naisha that is now over 120,000 followers on Instagram in a matter of 2 months' time, and she only started talking on Instagram after Charlie Kirk. Like, she was awakened after COVID, but started speaking and really engaging post Charlie, right? So this is a brand new thing. So we are in the 2 months of truly, it's probably even been maybe 6 weeks of this really recognizable divergence between the right and the moderate. We're now going really quickly, and people are calling it infighting, and the right is eating itself and blah blah blah. It is a little bit messy. It is a little bit ugly, and it's going to be hard to see. I can't really see out in front of what will be the result of it. How, what we will lose in the meantime while we're getting ourselves organized, if that makes sense. I know Charlie would hate it. He would really hate it, but it has to happen, to your point. And this is what I mean when I say those of you who are kissing the speaker's butt and doing all the things you think are the way that you advance, we're going to win. The super real America First conservatives are going to be the loudest, most influential voices there are. And that is going to pull and drive the movement. And if you don't figure that out, you're not going to have a career in politics anymore. It will take some time. These things have, like, there's a cycle, obviously, like, not everybody that needs to be replaced in the next election is going to be replaced. There is a cycle to finding good candidates, getting them enough money, putting them in play, all of those things. So it might take 1, 2, 3 cycles, but it's only going to swing more that direction. It has to. It
Right.
has to. If there's going to be any real change that the people are desperate for. And you'll even notice, and I'll say this for myself as well, and I know we just gave Trump a lot of praise the other day for pardoning our friend, and that still holds true. But even I am like, man, Trump, you're just not playing it right. Like, you're still trapped in the 2018 way of doing it, and you even have got to get more MAGA.
Well, that's why
you've got to get more.
I have been saying, like, and this is just something that I've come to the realization myself in the last like 2 to 3 weeks, is like the MAGA and the America First movement is splitting, right?
Yeah.
And the MAGA is now the moderate position. Mm-hmm. And again,
what a wild thing.
Like it, love it, hate it. This is an observation, not an endorsement. I'm just saying, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm picking up. And so this, but it's so exciting because, like, that's the only way to win for us right now. So, like, if we stick with MAGA,
not just for us, it's the only way the left is winning also, is to be more and more radical.
We have to counter it. And I want to be clear and say, I'm not just saying to be radical for the sake of being radical, but
be radical with the truth. Be radical with
and
I'll
actually give Trump a lot of credit here in that what he did was he listened to the people in 2016, in 2015, you know what I mean, when he was running. And he listened, he's like, what's the issues? Okay, we need to build a wall. Okay, we might need to deport some people. You know, like, he basically listened to what the problems were, and then he did not run it through a filter of, is this politically safe?
Right.
He just said, this is what needs to be done. Tweet it, do it, run on it, stand on it, and do not back down. And the people loved him for it, loved him for it, and put him in office. And I would argue that, yes, America First has caught that fever and is like, you know what, this works. And it's like spreading a little farther than maybe people wanted it ever to. It's like, oh my gosh, they're like catching on to everything now. Like, oh my gosh, they know about Israel, they know about our rape island, they know about
You're absolutely right. That is why Candace is so popular. I heard she even passed Joe Rogan.
Oh my gosh,
everyone is watching her and paying attention because she's the new one that's saying,
you know what's funny?
Things that people are like, that is what is true.
What's interesting is, like, I saw Joe Rogan. It looks like he may have gotten a little slap on the wrist on the Israel stuff.
Oh, interesting.
And he, like, I think it was Theo Vaughn brought something up, and he like, in the way that you would what would you say, like, chastise him on air, like, in the, like, hey, what are you saying right now? Why are you saying that? You know, and Theo was like, what are you talking, you know? I wouldn't be, Joe might be, people are dropping you like a rock right now if you are showing that you don't get it. Like, and people, that's what I mean. This divergence is happening so strongly and rapidly right now. And it's like even really happening, fast. Like, Trump had one of the most loyal followings in American political history. And people are dropping him because they're like, you know what? You're not going where we're going. Oh. And I don't want this to happen. I'm just saying this movement is moving fast. And it wouldn't surprise me if, like, Joe Rogan, people are, it doesn't take much for the movement to say, if you're not with us, you're against us. Because it is that black and white. We cannot have compromise. If you're compromised for the deep state, if you're compromised for the rhinos, if you're compromised for Israel, if you're compromised in those ways, then you're not in it. Because we are moving to America first, and we understand enough about how that has to work, and it cannot have compromise in it when it comes to these things. And it's even affecting Trump. It's even affecting Joe Rogan. And I hope these guys figure it out and go and pivot. 100%. That's what I want. I want the unity. But MAGA is the old moderate, is the new moderate. It's the old party already. And America First is where we are going. We're definitely where the next generation is going. And the next generation is already here. They are voting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would say it's a very good thing. I'm very encouraged. I think we've barely begun to see the fruit of it. And I would strongly encourage that it can't be gotten in the way of. It can only be joined or not. You know what I mean? It's like, nothing's going to stop it.
I did have a devastating moment yesterday when I was folding laundry and listening to the Charlie Kirk show, which I'm still loyal because I still can't believe Charlie Kirk has died. Like, it's still just the craziest. And I listen, and I think it's still a good show. Obviously, again, we've said Charlie is irreplaceable, but man, I did have to listen to, like, I had to turn off the episode because I was like, man, you guys, like, just trying to big time run cover. And it was so clear that's what was happening.
For what?
Israel, like, donors, just like, trying to smooth it out. Just trying to smooth it out, be like, there's not really a conspiracy. Trying to explain why, you know, I guess run cover for the Epstein thing a little bit of like, what can we actually prove? What do we actually know?
Oh,
and that's fair.
That's not running cover. That's what I call your influence is showing.
Well, yeah.
Your Israeli influence is showing.
And I hate to say it because obviously I want to run cover for TPUSA because how important that organization has been.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I hate to even say a critical word because I don't want to run cover for Israel, but I want to run cover for TPUSA and be like, oh man, I just want to give them some space to course correct. And they could, and I hope that they will. But let's talk about this for a second because, again, I'm not saying I know and understand everything better than other people, but like this is an area of nuance. Like I also feel the same way about Turning Point USA. And with Charlie at the helm, one of the greatest political organizers in the history of the world. At the same time, Charlie is no longer there. And we also know, having nothing to do with like specifically, like I'm not talking about Israel taking Charlie out or whatever, but let's talk about, we know that there was a lot of Jewish donors, Israeli citizenry or Jewish donor influence in conservative politics. It's actually not a surprise that they're in conservative politics. It's not just Turning Point, but they're there. Well, Charlie disappeared. You know what's weird?
What? Should I finish this thought or do you want?
Finish the thought.
And what I was mentioning to Wendy the other day is like, you have to understand that those donors also place people in the organization. They don't just say, yeah, Charlie, take the money and make sure you're nice to Israel. They actually also, and remember, we're talking about multiple donors that are like billionaires, 100 millionaires that probably also have connections to the state of Israel. And I say probably, they do, let's just be real. And that the way that the state of Israel works is they actually funnel money through donors into these things rather than direct Israeli government funding. They direct people to put money into these different organizations that will lead to
it's just
action.
Like politics,
Well, so what I'm getting at is like, yes, we should be very critical and look at TPUSA through a critical lens because right now they're in a very vulnerable point in time. And there are people in that organization that were put there by the very people that may have removed Charlie from the world. And so you have to look at it with a clear eyes and go, there's some influence there. There might be some people there. And right now they would like to keep Turning Point as relative and co-opt the audience and bring them back to their talking points and their pro-Israeli stance.
To be fair, Charlie would have done that. I do think that he was critical, but he also would not engage in conspiracy or in anything that he couldn't prove. He would say about Epstein.
He got engaged in a conspiracy. I mean,
because he's dead.
Well,
is that what you mean?
I mean, I know what you're saying about Charlie.
He would say we absolutely can't drop the Epstein thing. We need to push that forward. But he would never have said on his show that there was a sexual blackmail, blah blah blah. But he wouldn't have done that because he's like, I can't prove that.
Hold on. Or he knew he couldn't say that. Here's what I noticed. And this is anecdotal, but when at post Charlie's assassination, there was a lot of clips going around about what he was coming to realize or starting to speak out about Israel. What I noticed is every time he spoke critically of Israel, he was on someone else's show.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when he was in like the turning point chair, he left it alone more. He would not speak. He would not say those ideas or those thoughts. When he was in someone else's chair, he was a little more open to discussing probably his inner monologue on the issue.
Well, okay, let me give you a different example. The Trump shooting. He was not going to talk about any other scenario of what it could possibly have been. He was just like, that was the killer. We need to like figure out what that killer was about. Why aren't we learning about the killer?
Thomas Crooks or whatever.
Yeah, like the guy that shot at Trump. Yes, exactly. Yeah. He wasn't a conspiracy theorist. He wasn't.
That's true.
He wasn't engaging in that. Certainly Blake never was. Blake's now a host on the show.
Let me add this because I don't disagree with you at all. So he was not a conspiracy theorist. I would say he was the type of guy that he didn't say something until he felt very confident in it. So when he did decide to start bringing things up, like on October 7th when Hamas attacked Israel, why was there a 16-hour stand down? You know what I mean? That didn't come out of, that wasn't born out of conspiracy. He's a very well-connected guy who talks to probably a lot of people that were like, Charlie, there's some serious stuff to this. Like, this is not what it appears to be. And only when he felt so confident that, oh my gosh, this is not what the narrative we were fed, did he speak it out.
But he also was privately, per those text messages, starting to drift from the pro-Israel stance, but still very loyally professed his love for the Jews and his love for Israel and his support for them as an ally.
That's like all of us right now, or so many of us right now are in that same boat. Charlie was very close. Here's the thing that will really tear a man apart is like he has these close financial relationships, probably also personal relationships in certain examples with Jewish donors and affiliated parties or organizations with Israel. And then, you watch the stand down on October 7th, and then you watch the Israeli response that went on for a year. I mean, theoretically, it's like still going. And can we just call it kind of like an organized, allowed genocide where Israel just started working Gaza over from one end to the other with little or no regard to any human life there, man, woman, child, fighter or not. And
which one could argue that is a biblical approach.
Well, let's not even get into that because I am not pro-Hamas. I think like they've brought this upon themselves in so many ways outside of October 7th that at some point they were going to have this happen. However, I'm talking about Charlie and how he may have wrestled with that right now. So you've got these people but imagine when he's just like the rest of us seeing these images and hearing these stories, and then how it's being rationalized to him from these people who he knows. That is a massive exposure of people's hearts and I know I've seen it, and many of you probably do too. A lot of the Israeli people take a very cold-hearted stance on this stuff. They will tell you, I don't care if it's genocide. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, they'll tell you there are no innocent people. They'll say, what do you feel about that the 12 children that were killed? There are no innocent people in Gaza. They're just like black and white. So when Charlie that's not Charlie's heart. I don't believe Charlie had that in him. So when he's hearing maybe some things of that nature coming from people he thought were one way, it's very expository. I think it exposed a lot of those relationships to Charlie on a personal level. They're like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't think he was just putting facts together about there was a 16-hour stand down and this isn't what we thought it was. I think he saw it on a personal level, and that people were very serious with him about, no, you will or you won't do these things. And he started to see it as a human being. He's a human being. He's responsible for this voice of Turning Point USA. And he feels that he needs to speak the truth. And they're basically saying, you will call it what I tell you to call it. And that's an ugly thing. And
he also had that guy on, I can't remember his name, the like kind of anti-Israel guy debate, the pro-Israel guy.
Is it Dave Rubin? I don't know. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that was like fairly recently and very frowned upon.
It was since the October 7th.
Yes.
That's what I think all this started to unfold in the last year. The 16-hour stand down of October 7th being like a catalyst, and then watching the Israeli response occur. Right. And Charlie's very plugged in. He probably knew more than we did. And that should tell you a lot, that he was willing to say the things he said publicly. He was probably very sure of those things.
It felt that way that you're describing, listening to that episode of Turning Point or Charlie Kirk show, where I was like, guys, oh man, it's like uncomfortable to hear you just be unwilling to. I mean, their whole shtick was, I mean, we can't prove any of this. Like, this is, like, what has actually been suggested. Like,
can't prove what was
like,
the subject?
Of Epstein, that there's a larger, circle of, because they're like, they keep saying pedophile ring. What does that mean? It means more than Epstein? Do we know, other than Prince?
Oh, yeah, Andrew? No, they've done sold out. I didn't hear that, but if that's what it was, that is a light the ship on fire, push it out to sea. It's over. Like, Turning Point USA.
And I will be clear, hold on.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Absolutely. I'll probably write an email. But there's room to pivot.
Of course. But that's the only room there is for.
Right. And there's also, when I say that, it does not mean that I now agree that these people killed Charlie. I think
anyone who can find those clips and turn them into 30-second Instagram and TikToks and shame these people into oblivion, that would be the best thing for them, is to be called out for it as soon as possible, as directly as possible, and either give them the opportunity to bucket the water out of their boat or to pull the plug out of the bottom.
To be fair, it was on Thought Crime, which is like that episode that you're supposed to talk about the things you're not supposed to talk about.
I stand by what I said.
To be fair. Give it to circling back, we're circling and then we'll circle all the way back. But if Candace Owens now has I'll have to double check if she has the most popular podcast.
Well, either way, she's skyrocketing in popularity.
It is because she has become the new Trump in that regard of, I'm willing to say it. I'm willing to say it because the people want to hear it, Now, again, we've talked about Candace. Is she being reckless? Is she being irresponsible? I think so, to a certain degree. I think she has accused a whole lot of people, and not all of those people are involved. And there is collateral damage when you do that. But the popularity of what she's doing and the influence she's having only points to what we're saying, that there is a radical move to, we are not wanting anything covered up anymore. We are no longer going to look the other way. We are going to watch Candace every single day because she's the only one talking about it. What the heck is going on?
It's demonstrative of a complete loss of trust in the
Absolute
systems, the
crumbling.
institutions. So like, yeah, the media are supposed to be like where we go
Right.
to them to hear what's going on. Our politicians, our representatives, I should say, are supposed to represent our interests.
Yeah.
They're not, and everyone knows it and doesn't care. And you know, it's like all
People
these different
are over it.
and people have just like,
our friend got shot in front of our faces.
right. And that's
Radicalizing
there's just
people.
It's absolutely radicalizing people, and that's why when Candace is, they're more susceptible to it, because I'm not sure where Candace is going with this all either, but people are susceptible to anything that is contrary to the system right now. Like, you could literally tell say, you know, the system did X, Y, or Z, and people are likely going to believe it right now because they're that distrusting of it.
And if you are a politician who is ambitious in any way and you're not picking up on the fact that Candace isn't even running for an office, imagine if you were the one that is like, I am going to get to you want to run for president? You'd be president. Like, you want to move, this is what I'm saying. You're not figuring out, but like, the evidence is all there.
Years ago, and years ago, and then multiple times,
that's why I want you to be governor.
I've told our local state representatives, like, be radical. Be radical. Like, you are irrelevant or you are radical, and the people will love you. Just like, don't worry about what the Speaker of the House or the leadership of the state party, or, you know, the establishment Republicans tell you should or shouldn't be doing.
They don't know.
If you fight for the people will be so behind you, nothing will stop you. Look at Trump. Look at the man. All he did was, he's like, I got the people on my side. I don't need anyone else. And that is the recipe for aspiring politicians, state representatives, congressmen, anyone who's willing. Copy that. Like copy the Trump plan, and just
the Candace plan.
Find out what the people want you to do,
and go do it.
As loudly, as obnoxiously, as absolutely unashamedly, as boldly, as courageously as possible. Don't do it meekly. Go, run with it. Go and watch the people come racing behind you.
Do it because it's the right thing to do, not because, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be like, we're not giving out free political advice here, okay? Do it because it's the right thing, and then do it. But I want to circle back because this is a great ending point on this episode. So, obviously, we shared with you a friend of ours who was recently pardoned by Trump, and like locally here, and obviously our Republican meeting tonight, he was there, his girlfriend was there. We his dear girlfriend, like, shoved the story out. She's like, he doesn't really want me to talk about it yet.
I was about to, but then I saw her hand go up. I was like, I'm sure.
Like,
I'm not going to steal her glory, and I'm sure she's...
celebrate this. And I know that there's still, like, fear, and there's still uncertainty, and there's still, like, I can't believe it's true. I mean, this poor guy lost the last 6 years of his life, 3 FBI raids, like, you know, conviction, like, about to go to federal prison for crimes he did not do, gets a pardon. So I understand he's still in the, like, shock. And then
it's important to note, the DOJ is vacating the case, charges, which basically is, like, indicative of, it's wiping it clean like it never existed, which you pretty much only do that when it's like an embarrassment to the department. Yeah. Like, this was never supposed to happen.
Yeah, I can't believe it got this far.
It's not a favor they do for you. It's not
you're acquitted.
Yeah,
it is, this should have never
It's going beyond the pardon, because the pardon is already one thing. It's basically saying, like, this never should have happened. We're just going to, like, literally get rid of it. And it's like saving face for the agency in a lot of ways.
So as much as we're saying you don't need to worry about what the Speaker of the House says and what the establishment, you know, rhinos say, our friend didn't care and had FBI, the full weight of the federal government thrown at him for 6 years, and a conviction and a prison sentence come down his way. So I do understand that that is a scary thing that we're saying. That we're saying, who cares what the establishment, because the very same Speaker of the House I'm talking about right now in our state is the same one that was persecuting my friend, right? Okay. So obviously he's still in his position, and he was able to strip this man of his life and livelihood for the last 6 years. So yeah, you are going up against a machine that is evil and corrupt to its core. And I'm telling you to do it anyway. Why? Because we ended the meeting tonight.
Because Mama didn't raise no.
No. Because we ended the meeting tonight remembering, thank you, Brandon, that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. One did not prosper. Yes, there was time lost, but we see in the Bible, in Joel, that God will restore to you what the locusts have eaten, or whatever that verse is. That he did not suffer the consequences of going to prison. Like it's absolutely mathematically never happens the way that it happened. The fact that he was spared the prison time, we have to remember that. We have to remember that a praying people is a force to be reckoned with. And his sister-in-law stood up at that meeting and said, I challenge us to be prayer warriors. I challenge us to pray. And you know what? We ended the meeting, thanks to my husband. We should pray over these people, lay hands, bring them into the middle of the meeting, lay hands, and have a pastor say a prayer to break off any lasting curses, any bad opinions of this whole show trial, any damages that are, like she jokingly said, I have PTSD. Like, if you ever come to my house, don't pound on the door because I have PTSD. Like, we pray that away. We break that off. You are free. This is not meant to stick to your shoe. You have been released of it. It is being wiped away because there is a good God who is a just God, and no weapon formed against us shall prosper. So yes, I do know what I am asking you when I say go against the establishment. I do understand that there is a machine that is corrupt and evil, and it will come for you and it will eat you alive. I know that. And I'm not saying this as somebody who has I may someday find myself up there with y'all. Like, I might run for office. You never know. You never know what I might do. Or I might force you to do it. I'm not sure. But all that to say, I understand it is not so simple as just go against your, I'm saying do what is right. Pray, follow God, trust in his providence and his provision and his praying people, because the people that you are going to activate as your followers, if you choose to be so radical, are fierce prayer warriors. I did go to January 6th, and you know why we went there? Do you know why we actually went there? It's not, surprisingly, because we're racist or white nationalists or, insurrectionists or any of the ists that we've been accused of. The reason that we went to January 6th is to pray, to stand on the ground and pray against what we saw was a just terrible injustice and a miscarriage of the system that we have sent these people to execute, right? That's why we went. And you know what we found when we got there? That is why most people were there. We must have prayed with people from all over this country, different countries. Worship music could be heard every moment of that day because prayer warriors descended on Washington, D.C., which is exactly why Satan came so hard against the January 6ers, because they actually were effective. And yes, some of them did see consequences in the natural, but no weapon formed against you shall prosper. They were all pardoned, and they are all seeing that restored. And they are, again, he will restore to you what the locusts ate, right? Like, sometimes it is a sacrifice in the natural, but there is a just God on our throne, and we can trust him. I'm stepping off my podium, but I thought that's a good way to end because that's what we did at our meeting.
That's good. If y'all aren't going to your local Republican Party meetings, and if they're lukewarm and moderate, stir it up and make it lively. I'll tell you what, ours...
we have some fun times.
I'm telling you, it might be better than you expect. I don't know what else is going on out there in other counties across the country, but we have
we make the news.
A wild, It is fun because it isn't moderate. You know what I mean? It isn't rhino. It isn't establishment.
Because we're praying in the aisles and we're yelling at each other.
Oh, it's
in a good way.
It's outstanding. I tell you what, we have a lot of local elected officials that attend every single one of them. Our sheriff, our county executive,
only the ones
county
that
commissioners.
Get elected again, do.
They know that this is a room of people that will go to war with them or against them, and they know what side they know what side they want to be on. And frankly, there's just we have some really great representatives, and at the same time, I think there are some representatives that the fear of God enters them when they show up, because they know who they belong to. They know that they are of the establishment, and I'm telling you, I can see it in their quivering lip when they're up there. But it's a lot of fun. If y'all aren't a part of your local Republican Party, check it out. See if it isn't worth getting involved in, because I'm telling you, it's powerful. Powerful.
All right, that's what we got for you. Happy Thanksgiving. We love you. We're super grateful for the support. Subscribe. And that's all.
Tell a friend.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on the Modern Watchman podcast.
Remember, truth isn't just something we believe, it's something we live out every day.
Stay alert, stay discerning, and don't lose sight of the hope we have in Christ.
Until next time,
be watchmen.